What's up, one and all? This is the Peace Dealer, and I wanted to share an end of the year prophecy. This isn't a prediction, this is a word that got impressed on my heart. I wanted to share because it applies to so many of you. Um, I really do wish and hope that this eases whatever burden you feel. If you feel a burden in your heart concerning this, you're meant to, but it's not bad at all. It's just pressure. Um, But yeah, if this resonates with you, comment a fire sign emoji. And really just don't take too literally the surface level of what I'm saying. Hear me with your soul. Hear me with your spirit. So outside of this, or outside of what I just said, um, I want you to think of the tension you've had with people around your life, especially if you feel your 7 of Wands like outnumbered 3 to 5 to 1 around certain beliefs, opinions. Right now, the election is the hot topic, so the election is a huge, trigger buzz. Once again, this is something I'm gonna do at the end of every year. Anything that I kind of feel called to any message that will really be an overarching theme for the year ahead. This does not apply to everybody. So if it applies to you, let me know. And based on how, successful this is, if y'all like this, I'll do this every year. This isn't a video where I'm going to be like, oh, this is going to happen. This is not a prediction video. This is a word that came to my heart. If no word comes to my heart next year, I won't do it next year. But this is a word that's specific to the past decade and a half. So I want you to think about, let's say, once again, this election, or your thoughts about Black Lives Matter. I want you to think about, the people that this has polarized you against, okay? And you'll know that this applies to you because you're outnumbered, like especially as it applies to those who you're close to, like family members or friends, okay, where you may be the only one standing up for an issue, okay? This is how you know this is you. So many people are so caught up in what's currently happening, you forget this is actually part of a narrative that's been building. Think of what's happening this year as like the final straw that's being broken, or the final line being crossed, okay? Many of you may think of what's happening now as something new, but it's really just a continuation of what you've been championing the truth for years. I want you to think the parallels about how the same people who you might be arguing about the elections, or about global warming, or about Black Lives Matter. And I'm only using these issues because they're trending now, not because of anything else. There are the same people who you've been arguing about other stuff with, about your beliefs in astrology, about chemtrails, about conspiracy theories. And I really want you to notice how, ever since the past 10 years, this has just been a slow but sure culmination. You being outnumbered, you being seen as someone who's not to be taken seriously, you having your beliefs just kind of dismissed. This is nothing new. And the word is that it's for a reason. God is working through you. You weren't just spouting these opinions and beliefs, these were placeholders. Let it be known that at every step of the way, at every conjuncture and point of these conflicts, you stood your ground, even if you stood alone. People will remember that. Right now, they remember you as the crazy person that says all this crazy stuff. Well, this is the turning point, my friends. Jupiter started the cycle with Saturn. And now, every single thing you've been standing for, remember, you're a vessel or an instrument, or you carry the power of God. And you're not just speaking your own ideas, you're streamlining the truth that is, not really being accepted. And so you are a lighthouse. It's not about your ego. It's not about, oh, I came up with this truth. I said, it's not about us. It's about us being vessels for this truth to flow through. And so a lot of you may feel pressure, like, how come I'm the only one who really sees it? And it's not about you being right. A lot of you are tapping into it. Like, this is kind of weird. Some of you feel like you're in a Twilight Zone or amongst the Walking Dead, where like you can see the truth so clearly, but it's just so hard for people to see through like deception. They're so easily brainwashed. Don't worry about that. It's not your job to save these people. It's just your job to say the truth. We're entering a period where you may even be more persecuted for standing up for this truth, okay? And you're a warrior, you're not a bitch. So don't let the pressure get to you. Just remember what you fight for, even if that fighting involves no weaponry and just speaking the word of the Spirit, which is your true sword and weapon. So, the purpose of this message is to let you know you weren't fighting for no reason. You were a light post to streamline this truth, because these people remember you were the only one saying that, right? So now the knowledge is manifested. Evidence will come out. A lot of people will be shut up. What you're not going to get, it's not going to be the way you want. What you're not going to get is people, realizing, oh my God, we were wrong the whole time. You were right the whole time. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get people really celebrating or actually acknowledging at a deep core level that you know what you're talking about. What you're going to get is the next best thing. Reluctant admittance. The same people who are acting like you don't know what you're talking about will reluctantly have to admit that you're telling the truth. Keyword reluctantly. They will not be full on to accept it. In fact, they still won't be on board really. But, evidence is evidence, truth is truth. Aquarius is the source of truth. That's why this aqua transit, it's going to be seen. And, it may not be embraced, but as reluctantly as they admit it, it will be admitted. And now, this is the purpose. The reason why you had to be at each level, standing on your own, speaking this, is that now they'll be forced to admit you did know what you're talking about. And that if they just accepted at face value the first time, they wouldn't have had to accept it at this deeper level. You might bring up something later and they'll deny it again. But because at every step of the way, you stood your ground. You did not fold. All right. Even before 2020, even before 2016, when we weren't talking about this, y'all were still having these contentions. We break it down in 3D with our stuff, but these are spiritual dialogues that we're breaking down, filtering through our individual experiences. So now, subconsciously, they're going to remember that at every step of the way you were right, and reluctantly moving forward, they're going to have to listen to you. The same people, especially those of you who are practitioners of astrology and tarot or spiritual modalities, who are trying to play you, now when you see science pretty much, which it always has, but in a mainstream level, kind of affirm this, and people are reluctantly forced to admit that you really do know yourself. This is a president you're moving forward with. It doesn't mean that people are going to automatically believe you, but they will reluctantly be forced to. So keep fighting that good fight, y'all. This is not about proving people wrong. This is not about you being right. This is about you maintaining the truth in your head. And some of you may feel weird because so many people around you are parroting and puppeting these false narratives that you start to believe, am I tripping? No, you're not tripping. You're a vessel for the truth, and keep on fighting that good fight. Trust me when I say, moving into 2021, you're gonna have the biggest, greatest breakthrough of your life. It's not gonna be anything too fancy, but it is gonna be important because you would have achieved a great milestone. This is not about you being like, I told you so, I told you so. This is about because you were the actual channel of truth, staying true when you were being alienated. Now they know and remember what you said, and that's what's going to help them reluctantly admit. But hey, acceptance is the first step, as they say. And until next time, y'all stay blessed as always.